Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled between green hills and whispering forests, there lived a humble woodcutter. He was a simple man, known for his honesty, his hard work, and his old but sturdy axe. That axe had been passed down through his family for generations. And though it was worn and dull in places, it had served him well for many years. One morning, the woodcutter rose with the sun, as he always did, packed his lunch of bread and cheese, and set off toward the forest. He whistled a happy tune, swinging his axe over his shoulder. But when he reached the river near the forest's edge and began to cross a slippery log bridge, his foot slipped just slightly, enough to cause a small accident. With a cry, his axe slipped from his hands, tumbled into the air, and plunged into the deep, fast-moving river below. The woodcutter dropped to his knees, staring at the rippling water. "Oh no," he said, clutching his head in despair. "That was my only axe. Without it, I can't chop wood. Without wood, I can't earn a living. What am I going to do?" He sat by the river's edge, mourning his loss, when suddenly, the surface of the water shimmered and bubbled. To his amazement, a spirit of the river, a graceful, glowing figure, rose from the depths, holding an axe in her hands. But it wasn't just any axe. This one gleamed like gold, its blade shining in the sunlight. "Woodcutter," she said, her voice soft like the wind through the trees, "is this golden axe the one you lost?" The man stared at it, tempted by its beauty and worth. He could have said yes. With an axe like that, he could sell it and never have to work again. But after a moment, he shook his head. "No," he said quietly, "that isn't my axe. Mine was old, made of iron, with a wooden handle worn smooth from years of use. That one's not mine." The spirit nodded and sank beneath the water. Moments later, she returned, this time holding a silver axe, polished and shining. "Is this your axe?" she asked. Again, the man hesitated. It wasn't as grand as the golden one, but still worth far more than his old tool. Yet again, he shook his head. "No," he said firmly. "That one isn't mine either. My axe was nothing special, but it was mine." The river spirit smiled. "Very well," she said, and once more disappeared beneath the surface. When she rose a third time, she held the woodcutter's own axe, the old rusted iron one with the worn wooden handle. The man's face lit up. "Yes, that's it! That's my axe!" With a graceful motion, the spirit handed it to him. "Because you were honest," she said, "and refused to take what wasn't yours, I will reward you. You may keep all 3 axes, the gold, the silver, and your own." The woodcutter could hardly believe it. He thanked her again and again, bowing deeply as she disappeared into the shimmering river once more. Word of the woodcutter's good fortune soon spread through the village. The people marveled at his story, but not everyone was inspired by his honesty. One man in particular, a neighbor who had always been jealous of the woodcutter's reputation, thought to himself, "If honesty earned him gold and silver, maybe I can do the same, or better." So, the next day, the envious man took his axe down to the same river. He looked around to make sure no one was watching, and then, with a dramatic sigh, tossed his axe into the water on purpose. He sat on the riverbank and waited, pretending to be distraught. Sure enough, the spirit of the river soon rose holding a golden axe. "Is this the axe you lost?" she asked. "Yes," the man lied eagerly, jumping to his feet. "That's the one." But the river spirit's eyes narrowed. "You are not telling the truth," she said sternly. "Because of your dishonesty, you shall not receive even your own axe back." And with that, she vanished beneath the waves, golden axe and all. The man waited, but she never returned. He went home ashamed and empty-handed, while the honest woodcutter continued to live a humble but contented life, respected by all who knew him. The moral of the story: honesty is always rewarded in the end, while dishonesty often leads to loss.